Hello, everyone. Welcome to Amber Everywhere. My name is Amber, and I'm so happy today. I'm with Soul Trip. And if you don't know about her YouTube channel, she has a lot of great content about spiritual journeys, health, traveling, water fast. I came across her content about like 6 months ago, so I'm a little late on the bandwagon, but I was blown away, and she really encouraged me to like kind of put my foot to the gas pedal on my own spiritual journey. So I'm so happy that she's here with me today.
Oh, thank you. I am so excited to be here.
Me too. Okay, so before we get to know you more, I want to play a little game. Okay, so people at home, you can play this game with us. It's kind of evil because I'm going to give you three choices and you can only choose one. So these three things are things that we like to do to heal ourselves or forms of self-care, but I'm going to force you to only choose one out of the list.
Ooh. Okay. Ooh. This is fun.
Okay, so the first set of three is journaling, meditation, 8 hours of sleep.
Ooh.
Only one.
Only one. Ooh, that's hard. I think so. I can never go to sleep if I choose the other two.
You can go to sleep, but it can't be a full 8 hours. So maybe you could
8 hours.
6 or 5, but you're not going to get that 8 hours.
Meditating. Yeah, I choose meditation for sure.
Why?
Yeah, it's just been a life changer. I feel like when I'm sleeping, I have a lot of lucid dreams. I'm kind of like dream walking, if that makes sense. So that's a spiritual journey itself, but I never feel like I need like a full 8 hours. Like I can get my energy just on six hours or less. But meditating for me, it really centers me, it really grounds me, and is the place where my intuition just really is able to speak to me. So meditating for sure. And don't get me wrong, I love journaling. I do love to journal, but I'm finding that I can be vocal as well with what I would write, and it's just as beneficial too.
Nice. Okay, cool. So next one. This might be a little hard. Okay, so a nature walk, time with friends and family, or traveling.
Ooh, okay. At first, right away, I was like, "Oh, nature walk, that's it." But no, traveling for sure. I'm a wanderlust. I love to travel, and hands down, I could travel every day of my life and never get tired of it. Like I feel like a part of my soul's purpose is to travel this earth. So traveling for me all the way.
Yeah, and you guys, she has amazing travel vlogs and the aesthetic is just so nice. So if you want to travel and get into that space, then you would love her channel. Okay, so the last round, media fast, yoga, or water fast.
Ooh, media fast. Surprisingly, I talk a lot about water fasting on my channel, but social media, getting away from media, that's the best fast to me. And I've done that as well as doing water fast. So
how was your media fast? What did you do and how did it work out?
Yeah, so I really didn't prep it much. It kind of just happened, and I went longer than expected because I accidentally deleted my Instagram page. So I really wanted to start by by fasting from Instagram. And I just decided to temporarily get off, which turned into me being off for a year because my page was deleted. And not being on Instagram, it just forced me to not be on anything else, Facebook, Twitter, all of that. And I already don't watch too much TV. So that was easy as well, just not turning on the TV, not caring what the news had to say or any media in that nature. So that's what that was like.
That's so beautiful. And so what did you end up spending your time doing since media wasn't such a big thing anymore?
Yeah, everything else. Like it's weird because you realize you don't need social media, and when you're not caught up in it, it's like you have so much time to appreciate the moment. So I felt myself being more present in everything that I was doing. because it had gotten to a point where I was just pulling out my phone just to kind of kill space or just to be doing something. It's like I had to just be doing something. I could be waiting for an elevator, but I'm on my phone scrolling while I'm waiting. And just being away from media kind of just forces you to be present. So in that same example, if you're waiting for the elevator or waiting at the coffee shop for them to call your name, you're waiting, you're paying attention to your surroundings, you're being present, you're able to just appreciate every moment. And it's funny because you'll notice people around you being so caught up in their phones while you're not being caught up in it. So during that time too, I did a little bit of traveling. And when I was in Vegas with my friends, I was the only one just not on my phone constantly, not having to get the right selfie or not having to get the right story post. So it's really an interesting experience for sure.
Yeah, I would love to do that. I'm addicted to YouTube and I just love to watch YouTube. And I watch things that I don't even care about. And I'm just like, wow, you're not being intentional with your time and with your energy, especially TikTok. If you're not on there, don't do it because it's addictive.
I have a TikTok now. I'm like on every social media site now, Clubhouse, Twitter, everything.
Uh-huh.
But I don't this time I kind of like measure my time on it. So I hardly scroll through TikTok looking at other videos at all.
And so on TikTok, is your name Soul Trip on there too?
No, so my real name is Kaila, and the reason why the reason why my YouTube name is Soul Trip is because I started it with my best friend. She's no longer doing it with me, but we had this idea of wanting to share our life's journey through YouTube, which we call it Soul Trip because we imagine every soul being on a trip of life, and from there we got the name Soul Trip. So that's why that channel has that name. But my name is Kaila, spelled Kaila, and all of my social media is the Kaila Vibes.
Oh, okay, nice. The
Yeah.
Kaila vibes. I love that.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank
So
you.
one of my favorite set of videos from you was the water fast challenge. And
Okay.
it's my favorite just because when I first saw it, I was like, what? Like, how is she gonna do it? Like, what does this mean? And, a lot of us, we're so used to thinking that we have to eat food. Like, you can't not eat, you can't do these things, it's unhealthy. So, there's a lot of, I guess, myths around food and water. So, it was so interesting to see you do that journey. But can you tell us a little bit about like what a water fast is and why you decided to go on one?
Yeah, so I definitely don't feel that I'm an expert or really should be speaking on it at all, but I do have the videos out. So just from my experience, water fasting is where you're only consuming water or herbal tea or just consuming herbs and putting healthy herbs back into your body while detoxing everything else from your body. And I became interested in water fasting back in 2018. I discovered it just from like different holistic health people on YouTube. Dr. Sadie was one of the people I was really influenced by because he talked a lot about fasting and doing water fasts. But however, my first attempt was in 2018 and it only lasted 2 days. It wasn't that successful. In this past year, in 2020, I decided to do it in December. And it was not, to be honest, it wasn't the most healthiest experience for me. As far as spiritually, I feel there are really great benefits in doing water fast. As far as healing yourself, I believe in the benefits of doing a water fast. But for me, I got really sick while doing it. And I was attempting to do it for 30 days. I lasted 11 days. And by the by the end of the first week, I was no longer craving food. And I really was feeling energized. I felt that I could really accomplish succeeding in doing a water fast. And I started to feel that my meditations were more heightened. I felt a little bit more, I guess, closer to God, if that makes sense, while doing it. But on the other hand, I think it's very important to do your research. And I last year was diagnosed with an autoimmune disorder called scleroderma. And with that diagnosis, I experienced a ton of symptoms last year and just up to being diagnosed. And I really was looking with that water fast to detox whatever my body was going through, because I truly believe that I can heal myself of whatever and anything. But the opposite happened. I kind of set my symptoms into a flare. So I experienced a flare up, and it just wasn't a good experience overall. But I say, with water fasting, if you do your research, and as long as you don't have any pre-health conditions or issues, or even if you're not aware that you do, you should seek medical help with that. But I think it can be beneficial if you just have the right tools and have the right knowledge going into it, for sure.
That's a beautiful story. And it's so fun to explore different spiritual practices like water fasting. And for me, on my spiritual journey, I've practiced things and they don't really kind of work out like my imagination says it
Yeah,
should. And then for me, there's this battle of like, did I do it wrong? Should I be more spiritual? Like, should I just push through this not working? Like, and it kind of creates like a negative effect spiritually because now I'm confused, which is not aligned, like not a symptom of alignment. So, did you experience that when you had that decline in the water fast?
that's a great question. I actually did. I did for, especially when it came time to end it, I was TMI, just vomiting a lot. And I really was kind of battling because I'm like, what did I do wrong? This was supposed to be this way. And why is it going this way? I read up on this. I thought I did all the research. I was really excited. I'm not craving food. Why am I feeling this way? But a huge reason why I even wanted to do that spiritually, and what has been just the, I guess, where I am spiritually in my life right now, is surrendering. That has been like the biggest part of my journey as of 2020. 2020. Just surrendering. You're not in control. You don't have to be. There's nothing that you have to do outside of just surrendering, trusting, having faith, doing what you can do where you can do it. So, with that being said, the water fast didn't go right. But what I was seeking spiritually from that water fast, as soon as I gave it up and just surrendered, I
Mm.
was able to get that in another way. And it was in a different way. I couldn't have created that experience if I wanted to. Somebody, she's a friend now, but she randomly followed me on Instagram, and she had been looking at some of my YouTube videos, and she saw that I was into Queen Afua's Sacred Woman book. I don't know if you've heard of that, but she invited me to join a sisterhood circle where we would go through the book together every Sunday and kind of meet up and just work on healing ourselves internally, healing our wounds, and just elevating spiritually, mentally, and physically. So as soon as I gave up the water fast, I fell into that opportunity with her, and it was just, my intuition was just telling me, that's what you've been looking for. That's what you were wanting from this water fast. Here you go. This is the spiritual elevation you were seeking. And from there, I'm just starting to get answers. I'm starting to feel myself really heal in the ways that I was seeking to heal in that water fast. So I haven't talked about that sisterhood class on my channel yet, but that is something, like, once I um, complete all the weekly sessions that we're doing, I plan to talk about it a little bit more.
Oh, I can't wait for those videos because I'm definitely interested in that. Yeah, I think it's
Yeah,
funny how we try to be spiritual, but then control the spiritual process at the same time.
right.
So it's such a beautiful experience when we learn like where our knowledge and our practice are not really aligning. So I'm like, oh wow, I know about self-compassion, but in this instance, I'm not giving it to myself, trying to do a practice on self-compassion and then getting mad that I'm not doing it right. It's like, whoa, chill out.
Right,
Chill
right.
out. I love that. another great theme of your YouTube channel, and you've done like a little short where you were in a bathtub, like full of like roses, and it was so aesthetically pleasing. And it made me think about like self care. And we see, you know, a lot of conversations about what self care is, what self care isn't. How do you define self care?
Yeah, that's a great question. So to me, self-care is simply taking care of yourself, however that may look to you. Like no one can define what self-care is, only you can. And for me, I love all things spa, beauty. That's just that's aesthetically pleasing to me. So there's no limit to what I'll do to like take care of myself in that way. So whether it's booking myself a full spa day, which that day, that's what that was. It was an 8-hour spa day in Bali.
Oh my gosh.
And yes, yes. And if you've ever been to Southeast Asia, it's far less expensive than anything here in the US. So for like 8 hours worth of spa treatment, I only paid, including tips, 70 US dollars. So that was like 3 hours of massage. I got Reiki done, pedicure, manicure, a facial. It was, and for all of that, like in the US, you would pay hundreds for that. So it was definitely just a great experience. And that's something that I, maybe to not at that extreme, but just at least, even if it's just doing a facial at home or giving myself a hand massage, I'm doing some type of self-care in that way every day.
Yes, I love that. Yeah, I started to really pay attention to lotioning my body at night and like really taking time to put butter on my skin and appreciate all of my body. Like there's certain parts of my body that I don't really like my little knees are a little bony and they stick out, but I rub lotion on my knees and I say, you know what, you're strong, you keep me standing up, and I'm so grateful. And that is a little
Seriously.
a way that I do some self-care. But sometimes when I get really into my self-care, I don't know why this happens, but sometimes I end up going to the opposite to self-destruction. I don't know if
Ooh.
you've ever experienced a cycle of self-destruction where you're just, eating a lot of junk that's not healthy, you're consuming a lot of media that's not fulfilling, you're just doing things that you know is not helpful, and yet you're
Yeah.
still doing them. Um, have you experienced that, and how do you cope or get yourself out of that cycle of self-destruction?
Yes, I definitely have. I haven't really in a long time. I feel like, yes, I feel like that was a hard lesson I had to learn before I left Chicago. So I used to live in Chicago. I lived there for 7 years, and I ended up leaving just due to stress. I had started to experience the symptoms of scleroderma. At the time, I had no clue where these symptoms were coming from, but I was just really in a stressful, um, kind of a depressed mental state. And it caused me to have self destructive habits, which a lot of that was just overeating, not eating the right foods. I was still vegan at the time, but I just was not cooking, not really taking care of myself. I was just overeating, just the most unhealthiest vegan food that you can think of. And it was kind of, I feel like it was all kind of tied into just being really depressed. But I had no clue that I was actually going through a depression until I was out of it. But I was eating to, or overeating to just make up and make myself feel good, for what I was experiencing at the time.
Yeah.
And how I got out of it was really just changing the place that I was in, just having a new restart. Sometimes I feel that restarting is, or resetting and restarting can be very beneficial if you're just in a place or a funk where you feel like you just can't get out of that funk. Sometimes you just need to hit the reset button, just start over. And that's what I did. I was in Chicago trying to force things, trying to stay there, really wasn't as happy as I could be. And I just moved back home. I moved back home. I just hit the restart button and I allowed myself to be okay with that. Like, I didn't judge myself for where I was. I didn't judge. And that's another thing too. That's a big thing. Just not judging yourself for where you are.
Yeah.
It's okay if you are being a little self-destructive, as long as you are not, of course, hurting yourself, but don't look at it as the end and that you'll never go to the other side. So I just really try not to judge myself, and I allow myself to restart if I have to, because there's really no end or beginning. We kind of in our mind think, oh, this is the end, or it's just in our head that things are worse than they really are. So I hope that answers your question. I feel like I was kind of everywhere with that, but
No, definitely. I love that. And when I am in those cycles, the judgment makes the cycles last longer because I'm
yes,
just feeding into more of the negativity. So I think if we can just do that reset and be compassionate and just say, you know what? It's okay. You're not feeling too good. I understand. Let's switch up the environment. Sometimes I even like to redecorate my room or like change and shift the furniture
yes,
around. So if you can't even move, then at least you can like seem like you have a different space. So
exactly. That's
yeah,
good.
I love that. And speaking of new places, if you don't know, you love to travel. If you guys don't know, she loves to travel. And I think that's so motivating for me because I haven't traveled out of the United States yet. 2020 was going to be my year. It really was. I had plans, but I haven't, gotten out. But what got you so interested in traveling, and like, how did you make the transition to from I want to travel to I am traveling?
That's a great question. Honestly, I just feel it's really tied to my purpose. So from way when I was really small, I've always just been excited about traveling. I remember when I was a kid, I would always brag to, like, or not brag, but just talk to my mom and like my aunts. I'm like, I can't wait. When I'm older, I may live in Paris. And they would just be like, you're not going to live in Paris. I'm 5 saying that. Like, what do you know about Paris? You're not moving in Paris. And, I'm like, well, I can have kids. I can live in Paris if I want. Like, I've always just been passionate about traveling, experiencing just different cultures on this earth. And I really just think it's tied to my purpose. Like, I don't know why it's instilled in me and why I've always wanted to travel, but it's something that I will spend my money on. So some people have clothes, they love to shop, they love to eat out. And I enjoy those things too. But if I can save up money and just spend it on a trip, I would do that. And how I got started, I actually probably it was my parents just traveling within the US. My mom is from Brooklyn, New York, but she raised us in Memphis. And my dad is from Memphis. But even as a kid, my grandmother, my mom's mom, she lived in Ohio. So I would spend a lot of my summers in Ohio. And from there, we just started traveling as a family. And then when I got on my own in college, any moment that I had to travel, like if I had a friend who parents might have lived in a different state, I would maybe spend a break with them or go visit them. And it's addicting. When you start, the more you do it, you want to keep doing it. And my first international trip outside of Puerto Rico, I kind of don't count that as international because it's still US territory. But my first real international trip was to Thailand. And that was in 2017. And it was with my best friend. We just did it. We just got our tickets, and it was so kind of spare of the moment. Like, but we both had time off in the next 2 months, and we just decided to book a ticket, and we just went. And everybody was like, "Why are you all going to Thailand for your first trip?" And we just did it, and we weren't nervous. We just looked at YouTube for a bunch of advice. We kind of learned some of the basic words through YouTube, and yeah, it was just a matter of jumping out and just trusting.
I love that, the just do it. And I think I get a lot of
Yeah.
anxiety of trying to choose the best first place to travel outside of the United States. Like, oh no, that's too far, that's too foreign. And then I end up just still staying in the United States. Like sometimes you just gotta pull the trigger and just pick a place. And I'm
Yeah.
sure Thailand was so amazing. I have some classmates that are from Thailand and they tell me that it's a great place to visit. So
It is a great place. And I think what helps too, because I'm so passionate about traveling, I don't overthink it. It
that's
is one of those things that for me, it does come naturally to just, okay, hey, I want to go here. Let's just do it. Like, I don't overthink. Like, there's other parts of my life where I may overthink before deciding to jump into it. But with traveling, I just do it.
I love
So,
that, and it shows that that is your purpose. It's like when we operate in our purpose, there's this like natural just confidence and just like go getter attitude that we have that
that's
other people look
true.
at and you're like, how do you do it? How? And it's just like it's just my grace. That's I have the grace to do this. So
Yeah.
beautiful. So it's been so nice talking to you. I'm sure the viewers have loved to learn about the different aspects of spirituality and traveling and self-care. And hopefully we can have more conversations too about this. But as we end our conversation, can you tell us what we can expect from your YouTube channel and your social media in the future?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So I definitely am planning to open up more spiritually. I feel that a lot of people who come to my channel, they kind of confuse my spirituality with being religious. And I don't know how that happened, but I do plan to open up more spiritually and just talk more about what I do spiritually, how I feel spiritually, and just where I am on my spiritual journey. And then also, I plan to talk about business a little bit more. That's something I haven't talked about on my channel at all, really. But after talking to actually one of my subscribers, she kind of motivated me to share more of my business journey, different endeavors I've been involved with. A lot of people don't know at one point I had a mobile app, and that was my first entrepreneur experience, and it was a total flop. Money just down the drain, but it's something that, and from my understanding, I was thinking that I needed to be an expert or I needed to have this high level of success before I can talk about things. But that subscriber really helped me to just know that people learn from your mistakes. People learn from where you are on a journey. So I do have another new business on top of the other things that I'm doing, but a new business that I'm launching in March. And I will be sharing the entire journey on my YouTube channel to just inspire and just show just what I'm up to business wise. And, there's a lot of people, especially now, that's wanting to start a business and may not know how or
Yeah.
what to do, the necessary steps. So I'm planning to share that. And I think it'll be something exciting and just some new energy coming to the channel for sure.
Well, I'm so excited for all of that. I know it's going to be amazing. I feel like your channel is just growing and growing.
Thank
So
you.
you guys, like, if you don't know now, you know. You should definitely get subscribed to
Thank you. Thank you,
her.
Queen.
And thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, of course, give it a like and comment down below some more people that should come join the conversation about spirituality and healing and self care. And I'll see you guys next time.
Bye.